What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nasher. Welcome back to the channel. Now, before we get started with this week's episode of WWE's Biggest Issue, the road to 200 subs has now come to a close, and we are now 209 subs away from hitting 500 subs. And if you guys are new to the channel, and I know that a lot of you guys are, because practically 100% of you guys are watching the content, but you guys are not even subscribed. So, if you guys are watching the content, you like the content, and you want more of the content, but you guys have not subscribed as of yet, then make sure you guys do indeed subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, smash that thumbs up button on this video, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And I want you guys to post in the comments below answering the question of the day, which is this. Who would you guys like to see be a champion in 2025? Let me know down in the comments below. And for this week's episode, we have something very interesting for you guys, because now LA Knight is once again the United States champion, and he has entered his second reign as champion and is now in need of challengers for the United States title. A title that has had a lot of rich history. More than 36 Hall of Famers have held the title, and I need to fix my tripod. Whoop. Okay. There we go. Sorry guys, I had to adjust my tripod to get myself in focus. Anyway, moving on. More than 36 Hall of Famers have held the United States Championship, and it's a lot of rich history. And here's the crazy thing. Here's the crazy thing. This actually took place 2 weeks ago on SmackDown, where LA Knight defeated Shinsuke. Sorry guys, my nose is running a little bit. Anyway, where LA Knight defeated Shinsuke a couple weeks ago on SmackDown, and now he needs challengers as we draw closer and closer to WrestleMania. But the question is, who will step up? To be fair, you've got a lot of talent. You've got guys like Andrade, Apollo Crews, Braun Strowman, Carmelo Hayes, Cody Rhodes. Unfortunately, Cody won't be able to challenge for the title because he has his own bullshit to deal with involving John Cena, which we still need to figure out why the fuck he did what he did. Maybe later today we will find out on Raw. Who knows? Damian Priest, Dexter Lumis, Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu, Eric Rowan, Joe Gacy, Kevin Owens, R-Truth, Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, Santos Escobar. There's the former champion Shinsuke, Solo Sikoa, Damatonga, Miz. I would say Tongaloa, but he's been out for quite some time. In fact, he's actually been out of action since War Games, funny enough. So it's been a minute. And then of course you got Uncle Howdy. Here's the thing, right? You've got so many different elements in this whole ordeal. LA Knight needs a new challenger, but there's also as well Jimmy Uso. I forgot there's Big Jim. And you've got a lot of different elements with this whole thing. You've got LA Knight who wants a new challenger for his title. You've got Shinsuke Nakamura, who is the former champion and is owed a rematch for said title. You've got Jimmy Uso, who's been trying to find his path to WrestleMania, and he wants a shot at the title. You've got as well so Solo Sikoa, who's been trying to find his path to WrestleMania. In fact, pretty much all the members of the new bloodline, excuse me, have all been trying to find their path to WrestleMania. You've got Braun Strowman, who has his bullshit to deal with involving Jacob Fatu. You've got Drew McIntyre, who's been pissing off Jimmy Uso, but you also got as well Drew McIntyre, who's been pissing off Damian Priest as well. So you've got so you got a lot of elements in this whole ordeal. So that right there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Literally, that's a total of 8 people who want a shot at the United States title. And the way I see it, I feel like that Nick Aldis, as the GM, should hold a series of one-on-one matches. So it would be like Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu, Damian Priest versus Tamatonga, Drew McIntyre versus Solo Sikoa, and then of course Jimmy Uso versus Shinsuke, and the winners would face each other in a fatal 4-way, and the winner would go on to WrestleMania to challenge LA Knight for said US title. So in that sense, right, Strowman versus Jacob Fatu, right? Let's say that did happen. Who would win? Well, obviously, Jacob Fatu has a victory over Braun Strowman, so it would only be right if Braun Strowman picked up the victory over Jacob Fatu. Then of course Damian Priest versus Tamatonga. As crazy as it sounds, it would definitely have to be Damian Priest. I think he's become more motivated, if you will, ever since dropping the dead weight that is the Judgment Day, and finally being able to move on after so many years. Now he's got his fans back. He has his confidence now. This version of Damian Priest might just end up being the most dangerous version of Damian Priest we've seen in a very long time. So in the matchup of Tamatonga versus Damian Priest would end up winning. Drew McIntyre versus Solo. Obviously, there is still a lot of bad blood in that scenario. Drew is still pissed off by the fact that the OG bloodline cost him the WWE title at Clash of the Castle in Cardiff almost what, 3 years ago? Yeah, almost 3 years ago, and it was Solo who cost him that very title. So I think a victory over Solo could really help him rectify what happened that night in Cardiff. But knowing Solo, he's got the new bloodline. But I think because of how motivated Drew has been in trying to get his lick back, if you will, against the bloodline, I think a victory over Solo could really do him justice. And then in the battle of Jimmy Uso versus Shinsuke, that's a very interesting match. That would be a very interesting matchup. But I think it would have to be Jimmy Uso. I think mostly just because of the fact that Jimmy is has been more motivated than ever before ever since Roman Reigns regained his Ulafala, and ever since the OG bloodline won War Games last year against the new bloodline, it made fans wonder what's next for Jimmy Uso, right? And I think the one thing that has to be next is obviously a shot would have to be a shot at the United States title. Now, obviously, yeah, we do know that Santos Escobar has been wanting that opportunity himself, but he's been so focused on Legado del Fantasma, he it's almost as if he completely forgot about the title. So it's like, why even bother, you know? I know that Miz has had his eyes on that title for a minute now. So for him to be able to win the title again would be very interesting, but it's just not going to happen anytime soon. So again, so in a fatal four-way between Braun Strowman, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, and Jimmy Uso, who would win? I mean, you've got a plethora of big dudes who would love nothing more than to challenge for a championship at WrestleMania. But the problem is that when you look at how far the rivalry has gone, but involving both Priest and McIntyre, one could argue that it ain't gonna be pretty. Like that rivalry is gonna escalate to the point where they'll just end up forgetting about the title, and then they'll just beat the holy hell out of each other to the point where it would come down to literally Braun Strowman and Jimmy Uso. If Priest and McIntyre, were to just beat the hell out of each other backstage, it ends up becoming one-on-one. Jimmy Uso versus Braun Strowman. I think it would have to be Jimmy Uso that would win it, and the reason for it is because it's, as I said, he's been trying to find his path to WrestleMania ever since the Royal Rumble, where he got eliminated, I think, by Drew. Was it Drew McIntyre? Ever since then, he's been trying to find a path, but he hasn't found one yet. So for Jimmy Uso, it's like, what do I do? It's like, for him, it's like, what do I do? My brother Jay has a shot at the World Heavyweight title. What about me? What do I have to do to get into WrestleMania? The answer: challenge for the United States title, and this would be a massive, monumental moment for Jimmy, because he's never had singles gold before. Jay has. He's had singles gold before in the form of the Intercontinental Championship, defeating Braun Breaker. And yeah, the new bloodline might have screwed him over out of that title. To be fair, Jay is owed a rematch for that title, to be fair. He is owed a rematch, but I don't know. I don't think the WWE Universe will go on X and say that I'm right and that Jay deserves a rematch for the IC title. I think mostly just because of the fact that he's more motivated to be a world champion rather than go after the IC title. Because if he becomes world champion, think about this: he will become the fourth member of the Anoa'i family to be a world champion. The first was obviously Yokozuna, God rest his soul. The second was The Rock. The third was Roman Reigns. Jay could be the fourth. Jay Uso could be the fourth member of the Anoa'i family to be a world champion, which would be monumental for Jay's career and for his legacy. Think about that. But aside from that, Jay has his path. Jimmy doesn't. What does he do? Answer? Simple. Simple. Challenge for the U.S. title. And I think if Nick Aldis were to create that, those one-on-one matches, it could really lead to a lot of controversy, but it could also lead to some incredible moments that will lead to a big match at WrestleMania. So, who do I think should step up? If it really came down to it, it would have to be Jimmy Uso. I think because that he's been around for so long, and with the fact that he's never held singles gold before, it's hard to say how much time he has left in wrestling, because when it comes to them, when it comes to the Usos, they're at a point in their careers where they're not going to get a whole lot of other opportunities to be a champion. And let's just be real, we know that the tag team known as the Usos, they're never going to reunite. After what happened in 2023, there's no way in hell that the Usos will ever reunite as a full-time tag team. It's just not possible. If it does happen, I will be surprised, but it ain't ever gonna happen. I think it's just too foregone of a conclusion to see them reunite. But I will say though, I think, looking at it on the surface, if Jimmy Uso does not get that shot at the United States title, or even get the chance to appear at WrestleMania and compete at WrestleMania, there's really no telling what will be next for Jimmy Uso. And for all we know, he could end up turning heel, which fans do not want to see at all at this stage. But we will have to wait and see as we are less than a month away from the grand stage, from the showcase of the Immortals. It's going to be interesting, you guys. Very, very interesting. But with that being said, that will do it for this week's episode of WWE's Biggest Issue. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more episodes of WWE's Biggest Issue in the future, then make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.